This is how I make my most fork-tender, juicy turkey. If you've never done a turkey before, you definitely want to save this video because I'm going to break down everything you need to do. The first thing you need to do is remove the innards from the turkey when you first unwrap it. You'll check both the cavity of the turkey and up above the neck. Some people save these and make stuffing or other recipes. I do not. I just simply toss them out. And after I've made sure everything is removed from the cavity, I wash my turkey really well, including inside the cavity. You're going to want to make sure your sink was disinfected before and of course right after doing this. And then I just set the turkey on my rack with some paper towels under, and then I pat it dry on the top, as dry as I could get it. And the next thing I do is prep my herb butter, so I take a stick and a half of softened, slightly melted butter, and I add lots of salt, lots of garlic powder, lots of rosemary. Season with your heart with this one. Remember, we're seasoning a lot of birds, so you're going to need a lot of seasoning. I add a bunch of thyme and a bunch of sage as well. And lastly, lots of black pepper before I just take a fork and mix it all together really, really well. And then I just set this aside so the butter could slightly harden back up. Now this step is super important. I'm making a quick brine. And what I do is I add a few tablespoons of honey to this little cup that I have here, and then I add a big splash of some apple cider vinegar, and then I take just a brush tool so that way I can combine it and mix it together. What a brine is going to do is it's going to help make your turkey extra tender and moist. Some people do overnight brines. This is something that I do to make it quicker and easier. And what I do is I brush the brine all over my dried turkey, and then I just let this sit for about 20 minutes so the brine kind of soaks into the turkey itself, and also the turkey kind of dries some. And for this next part, you're going to want to make sure your hands are clean because you're going to be using them well. Remove your rings, and I have some cut up onions, celery, and carrots, and I put this inside the cavity of the turkey. This helps with the cooking process, so that way the bird does not get overcooked, but also it adds some great depth of flavor. And you're just going to want to put a mix until it's completely filled in. And the next thing we're going to do is probably the most important. We're going to take all this herb butter and rub it all over the turkey. You're going to want to get into every nook and cranny of the turkey, all over the top, the legs, the wings. And at the base of the breast, there is a little opening where you're able to slide your hand in to get directly to the breast meat. It's right under the skin. So when you push your hand back, you'll kind of release the skin back, and you're going to want to put a bunch of your herb butter back there too. All of these steps that I've just done are what's going to help with making one of the juiciest, most tender and flavorful turkeys. And then I'm going to take 2 very large pieces of aluminum foil and kind of fold them in sort of a dome-like shape and secure them to the sides. I always do my foil shiny side up. Make sure it's secured well on both sides because otherwise your turkey is going to brown too quickly. And then I preheated my oven to 325 degrees. And what I do is I only keep one rack in my oven on the very bottom lowest rack that I have. And this is because just the height of the turkey sits so high. And then we are not going to touch this for an hour. This was a 17-pound turkey, so it was going to take close to 4 hours. But after the first hour is when you're going to pull it out of the oven, you're going to remove the foil, and you're going to do your very first basting. And this is just using this special baster tool, and you're going to get some of the juices from the bottom of the pan and put it all over your turkey. After the first hour mark, this is a step you are going to continue to do every 45 minutes to an hour. This is also a very important step to help keep your turkey very nice and juicy. Now this is when the turkey was about 45 minutes from being completely cooked, so this was the last basting we were doing while it was cooking. And what I generally do at this time is I'll leave the foil kind of loose at this point because it'll help completely finish browning your bird. And that nice color gives great flavor to the skin. And then when you pull it out of the oven, you're going to do yet one last basting. It is very important at this time not to cut directly into the bird. You need to give the bird a good 20 to 30 minutes of resting time before you start slicing, so that way the juices stay intact inside your bird. After I do this last basting, I cover it with foil while it sits and rests before I start slicing. And as you can see, you get an extraordinarily juicy turkey. When cutting, I always like to start at the breast and work at an angle and do both sides of the breast before I start pulling the legs apart. Don't worry about perfection. At this point, it's just about getting the meat off the bird the best you can. What's great is with both the wings and the legs, you should be able to pull them back and simply give them a hard twist and they'll come right off. Now, I've been told over and over that this is the best turkey anyone's ever had in their life. And although I try and stay humble, I have to agree, it's delicious. Enjoy!